see, I can make a video below 15 minutes. So yes, I know we are getting new lore for Alistar, but I am waiting for that comic to officially drop on the live servers to get the full experience. So instead we can talk about another topic that has quite hilarious history and which ended up benefiting Riot without them doing anything. And it's all related to how the US are developing in all kinds of directions. And eventually, when push came to shove, it was decided that TikTok would be banned. Now, when this was announced, most people didn't believe that could ever happen. Now, I have personally never used TikTok, I am way too old for that, I guess. But even I know that TikTok is one of the most popular platforms on the internet right now. And so nobody believed anything could ever happen to it. Until 2 days ago, TikTok was actually banned. Well, actually, not really. You see, at that time, TikTok wasn't legally banned. It was just that ByteDance, the company that owns TikTok, decided to just take it down. Nobody is really sure why they did it, they didn't have to after all. So it seems like maybe they did it to show people that, yes, this is actually serious. I mean, in the past, the CEO came out a few times to talk to people about the fact that, yes, this can actually happen. But regardless, for a whole 12 hours, there was peace on the planet Earth, before TikTok was brought back again. And here is the twist. It turns out, TikTok is not where it all stops. Apparently, ByteDance as a whole is getting their operations stopped in the US, with ByteDance also owning a lot of gaming companies. Think of something like Tencent, with one of the companies ByteDance owns being Moonton Technology, with Moonton Technology owning Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Yes, I still cannot believe that is the real name of the game. And as some of you may know, League of Legends and Mobile Legends Bang Bang has had quite a spicy history. Don't worry, I'll bring you up to date in a second. So first, why is this related to Riot? You see, Mobile Legends Bang Bang, despite being ridiculed in the West, actually is a really strong competitor. That is, when it comes to the mobile market. From my own research, it seems like Mobile Legends has far better esports compared to something like Wild Rift, with both games being based on mobile. And overall, it seems like in the East specifically, the community almost feels healthier than Wild Rift. But of course, when it comes to numbers or anything like that, all of that kind of info is shrouded. Because again, all of this is rooted in China, where apart from just showing us how much they earn, they don't really show these kinds of stats. So we don't know if Mobile Legends is actually bigger than Wild Rift. But in short, when it comes to League versus Mobile Legends, there has always been the classic battle similar to something like League versus Dota. Which one is better? Who actually cares? No one cared back then, and I'm pretty sure no one actually cares now. But that is not why we are here. We are here because of the spicy history that included a lot of shady things from Mobile Legends. Every now and then they borrowed some elements from champions from League. Other times they borrowed entire kits. And occasionally they also borrowed entire skin themes. And things got so bad that Riot sued them. Multiple times. And thank God the Mobile Legends community is documenting all of these lawsuits. So, apparently, the first one happened back in 2017, where Riot sued them for copyright infringement. And yes, especially early on, some of the Mobile Legends designs were ridiculous. But what's fascinating is that the copyright infringement was dismissed in the end. And that's because while this wasn't a sure victory for Tencent, who of course owned Riot in China, which is where the lawsuit happened, rather than that, they focused on something else. Because it turns out, the head of Moonton used to work for Tencent. And so legally, they couldn't leave their position and go and work for the competition. This would put company secrets in danger, which is why these kinds of laws exist. And so, during this first lawsuit, just for that, Riot won about $3 million. But when it comes to the copyright, things stayed shady. And that was until the second lawsuit hit. Now Riot was after the champion designs and the UI elements, which would also include stuff like champion abilities being borrowed from League. And there, Riot actually won the lawsuit. And so Mobile Legends was forced to change some of their designs. And again, here's a quick recap from the community. We got somewhat of a bootleg KDA Ari. The second one was apparently too close to Stargazers. Next, this dude got his diving goggles taken away because I think it was too close to Jarvan. Then again, his entire silhouette and champion design is kinda Jarvan. But those goggles, oh, those were too much. Next, they changed Graves' bootleg Zone background into a bootleg Lab background. Young Garen? In case you missed it, which to be fair, that is understandable. Here the new version has runes on the blades. Yep, that is not Young Garen anymore. And lastly, Project Nidalee had to change the color on her face mask. That is no longer a project skin. And of course, on top of these changes, Riot got another $3 million out of this. And lastly, there was one more lawsuit that happened, and this one turned out to be important. Because here they had more copyright issues, but with Tencent really locking their forces against Moonton, with again both companies being based in China. Tencent didn't want to go into another risk, especially after the last one didn't really change the champions that much, and so they dropped the charges. Now this turned out to be a mistake, because by doing this, technically Riot went for defamation, because they said bad things and then they essentially admitted, yep, we were wrong. So they had to pay Mobile Legends $28,000. Which I'm pretty sure no one cared about. But the real outcome came from the fact that the gamers in the East were just tired of Tencent and Wild Rift constantly suing their opposition. Which, at least according to the people who know what's happening around this game, is what led to the fact that the Wild Rift esports slowly diminished, while the Mobile Legends esports rose in return. And that is why the Mobile Legends Bang Bang esports are decently big in the East. And that is pretty much the lore when it comes to the relationship between these games. So now, back to the ban. Again, since everything is under the same parent company, Mobile Legends Bang Bang ended up being banned for 12 hours together with TikTok. What does that mean? You couldn't really download the app, it wasn't on the App Store. And when you launch the game, you just got a message, too bad. That's it. But of course, 12 hours later, it was brought back. And since this is technically a Chinese game, as Chinese games do, anytime their service drops, even for a few hours, they just reward the players. So in return for the game being down for 12 hours, people got more rewards than what you can earn in League now through the new leveling system. But that's not where all of this ends. Upon further research, it seems like currently the Mobile Legends players are bleeding. This was the case before this ban happened, and yeah, it makes sense, the exact same thing is actually happening to League. MOBAs? Fun to watch. No one really wants to play them, and it doesn't matter what MOBA it is. Be it a shooter, action game or strategy game, no one really cares anymore. But this ban certainly didn't help them. And now there is a new development that happened. Yesterday, the US signed a new order that gives TikTok another about 3 months to get bought. Until then, they can operate here, but if no one buys them, they are done. Which means, of course, the exact same thing is currently happening to Mobile Legends. They got unbanned, but it is temporary. And here's the funny thing. You know how Mr. Beast offered to buy TikTok? Can you imagine him owning League's competition? But this of course brings up the question, can they be bought separately? Is it possible that someone just buys out the operations of TikTok? Which means that Mobile Legends would still get banned. Legally, it is possible, but I am gonna assume that Moonton will try to sell everything together as a bundle. And that is where this situation currently is. It seems like Riot's competition is in trouble. They are waiting to see if someone is willing to buy them. And should they be bought, it is obvious there is gonna be big differences between the Eastern servers and the Western servers. I mean, remember the old Garena days? The old Garena servers were a nightmarish landscape with slot machines in League of Legends. Kinda like what we have now.